Oh, good.
We're going chasing.
Hello there, and welcome to...
We're going chasing.
Hello, now, and welcome to...
We're going chasing.
Now, we have a lot on the agenda, lads, so we'll cut the chase and get straight down to the business.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of We're Going Chasing. Killian, we're back to the preview show. We're here on a Thursday evening, and we've just had some nice races. The Thurles Ilete Toms was impressive. Classic getaways after winning the listed chase, with Hot and Colors actually coming home lame in second, so we can sort of put a line through that. And Fun and Daddy Longlegs were also both extremely impressive. Very quickly before we move on to the weekend, Killian, if you were to pick out one horse there that I've just mentioned, who standed out to you the most?
Classic Getaway.
Classic Getaway?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought Fun was brilliant.
Shades of Allaho to it, isn't there?
There is definitely to an extent, you know, typical Danny from the front, and you know, nothing got close to him at all. And indeed, the Ryanair chase will be quite open this year, so it'll be interesting to see what the market makes of them now after that. But Killian, looking ahead to this weekend, on Friday at Newbury, we've got Jericho du Rapine for Nicky Henderson. He's been a real talk horse, makes his debut over hurdles. A point-to-point recruit for JP McManus. He beat the other Mozzie by 11 lengths, and he's one that I think everybody's looking forward to seeing. I did see just there about an hour ago on the Racing Post, Nicky Henderson has says that his price for the Supreme is totally ridiculous at 12-1. But what do you make of him tomorrow?
But sure, he's 1-3. He's all talk. People were tipping him up off the back of a race course gallop in Newbury. He looked so impressive. Load of shit. Till he does in the track, he's no right to be 12-1. Like, you know, like Mirrors or West is a bit short of that, but at least he won a bumper. He should win tomorrow anyway.
Yeah, he should do. That's a good quick response, Killian. We'll stay going like that, and we'll keep the tempo of it up. As you know, I like keeping these short and snappy. But on to the 150 at Newbury. Hermes Allen makes his debut over fences as well. In a grade 2. He should take all the stopping. I'd imagine he'll be much better again over 3 miles. But do you reckon he should be good enough to win that?
You'd imagine he will, yeah. But I don't know, would I back him at 13-8? Maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know what'll beat him though.
Yeah.
Marble Sands is the obvious one, but
yeah, I probably at 13-8. I still think it's a good price on him, to be honest. I don't see him being bet. Colonel Mustard is over there from Ireland too, not good enough. But to be fair, there is nice horses in the race. It is deep enough, but I'd be disappointed now if Hermes Allen couldn't go and win that. In the Coral long distance hurdle, Paisley Park will go there for the 5th time. His form in the race is 1-2-3-2. So it'll be interesting to see what number he adds on to the end of that. How do you feel about it, Killian?
it won't be a 1 anyway.
You reckon?
Yeah, I can basically guarantee it won't be a 1. I think Marie's Rock savage price. I don't like. I'm not gunning her as a horse for a stayers hurdle. I think she's no chance in Cheltenham over 3 miles, but I think Newbury should suit her fine against 2 horses that are complete geriatrics, really. Like Paisley Park is 11 going 12, the other lad is 10 going 11, and ran a horrible race the last day in Wetherby, the day the Charlie Hall. Like Botox has, geez, I don't know, like that's just not a good race at all. Yeah, I think Marie's Rock's a savage price. I think she'll win.
Okay, yeah. I'd probably take you on there because I was looking at Paisley Park and I couldn't really see anything that I was too happy with. Fully agree with you. Dashel Drasher, that race at Wetherby, very poor. Marie's Rock, small bit in and out, the improving type. She'd probably, if Paisley Park is going to be bet, it'd probably be her. But I think at 4-1, I think the value is there with Paisley Park. He's an 11-year-old. I'm often a bit biased towards these older types too. And maybe that's my Achilles heel, but that's who I'd be siding with there. To be honest, he's a classy horse and has to give £7 to Marie's Rock and 6 to Dashel Drasher. But it's Paisley Park in the car long distance hurdle for me. Also at Newbury, Killian Gordon Elliott is sending over Woodoo. I think I'm pronouncing that right, for a listed juvenile hurdle.
Yeah,
Haven't paid much attention to that, but he's 6-4 on, and he'd want to be winning to make the trip worthwhile. Was there anything else at Newbury, Killian, that caught your eye?
Not Friday, no.
Okay, very good. We will move on to Saturday. And Saturday isn't really a day for graded races. I know the last couple of weeks we've been looking at graded races, but it's mainly handicaps now that are really catching the eye, along with nice beginners chases and maiden hurdles and that. But looking at Fairyhouse, first of all, Nick Rocket returns to the scene of his Grade 2 success and is 6-4 to make it a winning start over fences in the Jim Ryan Racecourse Services Beginners Chase. It's a deep race, Killian.
It is, yeah. Geez, I didn't actually know there was prices for that. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. 6-4, Nick Rocket, based on what he did over hurdles. I think Corbett's Cross should be a bit sharper than he was the last day. Yeah, I'm not a huge 3-card brag fan than myself at all. So, yeah, I'd be a bit disappointed if Nick Rocket didn't win it.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I would be a bit disappointed, but to be honest, it's the kind of race that I look at, a beginner's chase. A lot of them haven't run over fences. I'm not too bothered in terms of finding out the winner. I'm more so looking at it to look for pointers further down the year. I know I've Nick Rocket in the 10 to follow, and I've sort of earmarked him a small bit for the 4-miler. So if he does win, I'd like to see him win. Not doing handstands, we'll say workmanlike, and hope for that step up in trip. But Nick Rocket probably does have the class to win there, right? Then in the 1250, Killian, we've got a few talk horses again. We've Ballyburn versus Firefox. Ballyburn 134 race and post rating in bumpers. Firefox 135 race and post rating. And then for good measure, Helvic Dream, our Group 1 winner on the flat, makes his debut over hurdles too. Where's your eye being caught there? Again, it's hard to know. Probably not a betting race, Killian.
Yeah, I think the Ballyburn bumper form from Punchestown has worked out grand. Slade Steel won. Dancing City was beaten. The one, it's taken a couple of knocks the first day out. Irish Panther's been beaten now twice in maiden hurdles. He's been a small bit disappointing. So, yeah, I don't know what I'd be back in Ballyburn at a short price. I don't know if there's any prices for that race, but
no.
Yeah, I wouldn't be backing him at a short price. I'd say Helvic Dream, if he can jump them, it'd probably be fairly nice. Like, he's rated 105 in the flat. He's a Group 1 winner. I'd be interested to see how he goes.
For Noel Mead.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see Noel get a good jumps horse now this year.
Yeah, it would indeed. To me, it's another race. Not too bothered about picking the winner, and it'll be a nice one to watch. And again, just look for pointers further down the line. In the rated novice hurdle, then we don't have prices once again, but a Redstone beat King of Kingsfield by half a length, and they both pulled 20 lengths clear of third at Fairyhouse the last day. You've got to respect that form, and we'll see what prices are like. But for me at the moment, that looks like the best piece of form on the paper, and I'd be interested to see what price he opens up.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I think he's probably does set a good standard. I think Release the Beast was pretty good when he won in Galway. So I think maybe he might be all right. Sport in the Park's a nice horse as well. It's not a bad race, I suppose, for a rated novice.
No, it's not a bad race. Is right. Killian, is there anything else at Fairyhouse that caught your attention?
Yeah, I think Dancing on My Own, I was looking at him. Obviously, JJ Slevin is in ride. He's the retained rider for these owners, but I think generally it's Rachel's ride when the horse is off. I'd say he won't be trying on Saturday. They could be working. I thought they were working back from entry with him again for the same race, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not off the next day. So he's one to look at. I think Grey Diamond for Gordon Elliott is actually a horse you said to me, James, there a few weeks ago. But he's again another one in from another yard. He's came from San Thomas's. He'd all right form over fences. He was beaten 12 lengths by Dancing on My Own last time in Aintree. And before that he won a handicap in Haydock. So that 2-mile trip seems to be nice for him. He's off a mark of 139. I think he got dropped a pound from his English mark, so 139 there. Gordon does well with these type of horses, so I wouldn't be surprised if he ran well.
Yeah, he does indeed. He looks like one that Gordon could improve. Indeed, my eye was drawn to him as well, Killian. Won't be of any surprise. But the other in the race was the other Henry de Bromhead runner, Folks Tiara. Rachel Blackmore, as you've alluded to, has got off dancing on my own. JJ Slevin, the retained rider, takes the ride. But Folks Tiara ran a very nice race at Punchestown last year, was third behind Dino Blue and Douglas Talking. Douglas Talking is another horse I might tend to follow, and one that I quite like. I actually see there's quotes there from Lucinda Russell that he's not going to be seen until the second stage of the year. They're waiting for the spring round and that, and he'll definitely be one to follow in big handicaps. But I think that form behind both of them is very nice for Folks Tiara. He's ran a couple of times over the summer over hurdles, but back in a handicap chase now, I'd possibly just side with the Folks Tiara over Grey Diamond. Aside from that, the only other horse that caught my eye at Fairyhouse on Saturday was the other Mozzie. He was second to Jericho de Rapine, who we spoke about, who's 3-1 on today at Newbury in a maiden hurdle. But he was second to him in a point-to-point. But it's the form of his last bumper that I really like at Galway. It's taken a real boost with the third and fifth horse coming out and winning next time out in a maiden hurdle. And again, it'll be interesting to see what price he is, but he's definitely one I'm keeping an eye on, Killian.
Yeah, definitely. And just one more for me. The famous Hunting Brook runs in the 310 as well, over 2.5 miles. So he's currently off a mark of 104. He needs 16 more. So we're running out of time. We're a month away from Christmas. He'd probably need to win Saturday. But I nearly take him on. Zanabad for Tony Martin's a horse I really like. He'd some all right form in maiden hurdles last year. He was a massive gamble on him in Naas last February, and he was coming to win the race and just absolutely clattered one and knocked the stuffing out of him. And he ended up coming about sixth. He was well beaten. He was punted again in York on a handicap in the flat in the summer. But I think a mark of 113 over hurdles, I'd say he's definitely better than that. It just depends when the day is with him, I'd say.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. Tony Martin well able to land him. He had at least one nice winner at this meeting last year too. I can remember in the handicap chase.
But yes, I know it. He beat Magic Days.
Yeah. And he's running again this weekend, actually, I think.
I think he sold that horse.
He could be running for somebody else then, because I'm pretty sure he saw his name somewhere.
Yeah, I'll come back to it. It'll come back to me.
Okay, if it does, anyway, shout. But we'll move on to Killian, or we'll move on to Newcastle, Killian, while you're thinking of that.
Yeah.
The Fighting Fifth is often a great race, and it's often a cakewalk, and it's looking like it'll be the latter more so than the former there.
I think cakewalk's an understatement.
Yeah,
savage. Watch. Equine perfection, I suppose.
Yeah, he does indeed. Love Envoy then is 7-1. I actually liked her for the Mayor's Hurdle at 12-1. I see actually there's a bit of blue beside her, an odds checker at the moment. She's into 10-1. Obviously, people are getting on before this run, but I wouldn't imagine her price should change too much for it. But it's one I'll be watching closely, and it might feature in our anti-post selection series for Cheltenham. But Killian, Newcastle again is just riddled with great handicap chases. Not quite as many as Newbury is. But the main one there is the rehearsal handicap chase, and Shishkin is 13-8. Would you like him at that price?
I wouldn't bet him before the off, but if he jumps off and he was 13-8, or if he was odds against in running after jumping off and maybe jumped the first, I'd probably back him. Like I know Lahan Press won the race last year, and he had to give a really progressive young horse into overdrive, a lot of weight into overdrive, ran a decent race behind him. But I don't see anything like that's that progressive in this race that's could have come out of left field and be getting 2.5 stone and win. I think Elvis Mail has won his last couple of races, but he's had a lot of chase starts as well. He's had 13 starts over fences. Like he's a bit exposed. Like so, I'd fancy Shishkin to give away the weight. Like he's well used to carrying around, was 12 stone, so he's well used to lugging around 11 stone 10, like, so I think if he jumps off, he'll be hard bet.
Yeah, yeah, I'd probably be inclined to agree with you. I think it's very rare that you see a horse rated in the 170s, like 173, running in a handicap chase. You know, such as the amount of weight that he's going to have to give away. But it's interesting. There's 3 of the field of 8 are all entered in Newbury as well.
Yeah.
So he could have very little there to take on the day, actually. You know, so at 13 to 2, I probably would expect him to come in. To be honest. Was there anything else there at Newcastle then, Killian?
No, nothing Newcastle.
Nothing else yourself, no. There was one I liked, no cruise yet in the 3 mile 6 handicap chase, the Bet MGMG chase. He's extremely consistent, proven at the marathon trips. He's 5 to 2 is the only thing. He's quite short, but like he's had 19 runs over fences. He's always thereabouts. I think it's 5 wins, 5 seconds, and 3 or 4 thirds. He always gives us running. Has nice form at Newcastle too, behind Kitty's Light. And I just think I was looking down through the field, I couldn't see a whole pile to take him on with. So I'll watch the market there, and I'd say no cruise yet. It'll be one that I'll be following on Saturday. But we'll move on to Newbury, Killian. We've the Coral Gold Cup. Like anything in that?
Yeah, I do. I like a couple in it. First one, very obviously, is Monbeg Genius. He's in my 10 to follow. I think I don't need to speak too much about him. He's got the Corach Rambler and the faster slow form from the Ultimate. They were well clear third. I think it's obvious he's going to be obviously a short price in a lot of these big handicaps, and surely he wins one of them. John Joe O'Neill training him and John Joe O'Neill riding him or not, he's going to have to surely win one. And then one down the complete bottom, the outsider of the field, Max Flamingo, for Francis Casey.
Is he not soured?
I don't know. I thought he ran an all right race last time over hurdles up and down Royal.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, like I think it was a nice pipe opener for this. And if he had, like, I don't think the Irish national suited him like that. Just that obviously there's only 4 or 5 finishers. So like you can completely strike that off straight away. A handicap hurdle in Punchestown, wouldn't mind that. I think they've probably since the national had their eye on this, and they've kept him over hurdles. And I think a mark of 140, he's ran to that mark over fences. Like he's shown he's well capable of doing that. I think at 50 to 1, Simon Tarrant has gone over to ride him. Geez, 5-6 places there. I think he'll run into them. And you wouldn't know, like he's off a featherweight as well, 10 stone 2 down the bottom. So
yeah, I'd have to look into his form a bit more now. But I was under the impression that he was almost totally sour. But
no, he bounced back the last day, in fairness, and over hurdles, and he seems to be in better form.
Yeah, okay. At a huge price, it could be a nice one to follow. The one that really stood out to me there, Killian, was Midnight River. For the Skeltons, I think he's still on the improve. He's rated 156 there, and I think there's room for him to win another big handicap like this, off that mark. He had a comeback run, the Charlie Hall chase, the Grade 2 at Wetherby, that was won by Gentleman's Game. He was bet about 20-25 lengths that day, but it's well documented that the Skeltons are needing their run, and I think that he's going to come on an awful lot for that. And at 10 to 1, you know, I think he's a fair each way bet. To be honest, he could take quite a bit of stopping. I'd be no surprise really if this horse was rated in the mid 160s. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. And an honourable mention to Stumptown too, a horse that I've been following for a while and has let me down a couple of times. But I do think he also has a race like this in him. Now maybe if even over a bit further, he could go better again. But 3 mile 2 could see him to good effect. There's great handicaps there at Newbury, and it was, to be honest, on a Thursday evening. Now it's impossible to get your teeth really stuck into all of them. So I don't know if you have any more for them, Killian. I know I don't.
I have ones for handicaps. I have ones for
Go
for
on.
novice hurdles. So I'll start in the 105 in Newbury and Massico for Alan King and Tom Cannon. I think there was an awful lot to like about his debut run over in Chepstow. He beat Harry Fryhorse by 3/4 of a length. They were 7 or 8 lengths clear third. Like it looked as if he was beaten like for everything, and then the other horse probably did hang a small bit, but he just stayed on, and I think he'll be a nice player up in Triple Eight on the year. But that Beat the Bat has come out since and beaten the Nichols Talk horse. Welcome to Carty's there last week in Ascot in the maiden hurdle again, miles clear of third over there. So form's got a nice boost, and I think 2.5 miles should be fine for him now. So he's about a 7-4 chance in that race. And then in the 140, the handicap hurdle, jet powered. He hasn't been seen since January. He was, again, I think he was second favourite for the Supreme or third favourite Supreme last year after he won his maiden hurdle in Newbury, and he hosed up that day, won by 10 or 15 lengths, and looked really, really nice. He came from the point-to-point scene in Ireland. He ran at Newbury again on New Year's Eve, I think, and got absolutely hammered. And they've left him off since. They brought him back. He's got a mark of 131. With all the talk coming out of Henderson's last year about how good this horse was, they're probably disgusted to see him in at 131. But with that, there's plenty of scope for improvement, and he's about a 4-1 chance there on Saturday in that race. So I'd say he'd take a fair bit of whack in there.
But when I sorry to cut across here, when I was going through the caps and I was trying to find something before the podcast started, I came across Jet Power, and to be honest, I was quite against him. To be honest, I thought he was a poor favourite, and I think he'll be a favourite to be overturned. That form of the Newbury race that he won quite easily is very average. Now I do accept that it's probably not his true running next time out again at Newbury, but he's a horse that I'd be quite happy to take on to be honest on Saturday, and I will definitely.
Yeah, I don't know, 4-1 though, like it'd be different if he was 2-1, like, you know, you get 4-1 there, you can back him each way if you want. Now I wouldn't back him each way. I'd say either win or he could blow up again, like, but
I'd say blow up. That's right. Now 131 is lenient in terms of if you're to match the talk to the rating, you know, there's definitely value there. But if you were to match his form to the rating, I think it's probably fair enough.
I think it is fair enough, yeah. But look, I think he's plenty of scope for improvement, and I'd say he'll improve and he'll go and win handy enough on Saturday.
Okay, fair enough. Anything else at Newbury, Killian?
No, I think Under Control is a big talk horse as well. Well, not talk horse. She's gone out and done it, but there people are saying she could be a lively outsider for a mare's hurdle, or something. She's running off a mark of 137. She's a 6-4 chance in a handicap hurdle that looks to have a few nice horses in it. So I'd be steering clear of her. But if she does win, she's a lively outsider in the mare's hurdle, let's say.
Okay, very good. Killian, we'll move on to Sunday at Fairyhouse, and again we don't have declarations for Sunday, so we mightn't go into as much detail in the other races, but the grade ones, I think it's fair to assume we've got a good idea of what's running. So we've got the Drinmore, the Royal Bond, and the Hatton's Grace, and before all that we've got the grade 3 juvenile hurdle. To start with juvenile hurdle, is there anything there that has caught your eye, or one that you're going to be backing on Sunday?
Yeah, there's the race Lossiemouth won last year, like, so you know, it's a pretty good trial. Wool 2 is obviously running on Friday in Newbury, so he won't be there. I'd say Caliconte will take a lot of beating. I think she was very impressive in a non-event really at Naas a couple of weeks ago, but she jumped really well, and she looks a horse that has a lot of class. She got a racing post rating of 129, which is pretty good for something that's ran a 3-runner race, or Navan, not Naas, but it ran a 3-runner race. So she's getting £3 from the main body of the field, bar Nara. That's another French import for JP. Henry trains it. I think she's nice enough too, based on her form over in France. But I'd say Caliconte, with a bit of experience, should be hard to beat.
Okay. And then we've got the Grade 1 Royal Bond in Canto Bruno 5-2 on Tubber 11-4, Slade Steel 4-1, Farron Glory 6-1, Facile Mode 7-1, and What's Up Darling 7-1, about 12-1 bar. You'd imagine, first of all, you'll only get one of those two, Henry de Bromhead, Rob Core runners. So probably whichever one runs will go off favourite, but in Canto Bruno is the favourite at the moment, Killian. I was supremely impressed with his jumping at Cheltenham. I thought as good a jumper of a hurdle now as I've seen in a long time, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's got the class too at the same time in terms of the horse underneath him to go and win a Grade 1. I don't think he's probably not a genuine Grade 1 horse. At the same time, it's not a vintage Grade 1 by any means, so you mightn't have to be a real Grade 1 horse to win it.
No, you mightn't. I was just surprised they go back to 2 miles with the Canto Bruno. I know he jumped really well and he's a really slick hurdler, and that obviously makes it you're faster from A to B over the hurdles. It'll make up lengths there and you can go back and trip. You see it over fences more so. But I would have thought he'd be going up and trip, to be honest. I'm a bit surprised. Like, I think the top 3 in the market, in Canto Bruno, on Tubber and Slade Steel, will all need a trip at time to see them at their best. But as regards to now, I think there was a lot to like about on Tubber's debut. Over hurdles, I think he was very impressive, and I think Slade Steel got down and dirty and it looked to be beaten at one stage and really picked up. Maybe you need something like that, and it's going to be sticky enough ground. It's probably not as soft as it was last year. So maybe Slade Steel, if he ran, I'd probably go with.
Okay.
I don't know, is he going to I have no idea which one is running.
Yeah, it's hard to know. But sure, look, again, we'll find out more tomorrow with declarations. What's Up Darling is one that possibly could outrun our odds. I thought that she showed
His odds.
His odds, sorry. I thought
it's a weird name for a gelding, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just you just go with she automatically. But I
yeah,
thought
you would.
showed,
fairness.
He showed a good attitude at Navan the last beating the Capo by a neck, and again in that sort of ground, you could just see him sort of staying on. But our next Grade 1 on the card is the Grade 1 Drinmore Novices Chase over 2.5 miles. Let's be clear about it. Top of the market at 15-8, found at 59-4. Sharjah 3-1, and the winner really should come from the 3 of those, because next in the market you have Maximus, who needs a longer trip. American Mike, I don't think is going to run here, because Gordon said that they were going to the Grade 1 Faugheen Chase at Limerick at Christmas, and he didn't mention this, so I'd say that he won't be turning up. And Favor de Champdou won't be turning up either. So out of the first 3 in the betting, Killian, which one would you be siding with?
I'd go Let's Be Clear About It. Willie has a terrible record in this race. He hasn't won it in the last 10 years, I think.
Really?
I think he's won it since 2013 or 14.
Okay.
I'm open to correction there, but it's a long time since Willie won the Drinmore. Like, he never really has them out this early, whereas Gordon would. I think I don't fancy Sharjah at all. Really. I just think some younger horse has to be better than him. I know he's a high-class hurdler, and I know he was pretty close to Constitution Hill last year in Aintree, but I think it's between Let's Be Clear About It and Found at 50, and they're pretty close to being the same price, 15-8, 5-2. And at that, you'd be all over Let's Be Clear About It. Found at 50 won a race up in the north, and like there must have been five fences omitted. So, like, in terms of that, and Let's Be Clear About It, had 2 runs over fences. He's won a Grade 3. He jumps really well. I'd be going with him. I'd back him at a lot shorter than 15-8, I'd say, against these lads.
Would you? Okay.
Yeah.
And I just, while you were speaking there, I just checked to see when Willie last won the race. Indeed, it was 2014. Valserlido won it.
Valserlido.
And then back in 2012, he won it again with Arvika Leganer, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm not sure.
Before I don't remember back that far.
I don't remember. I'd say.
I remember last week.
I wonder what that horse went on to do, because it's not a name I recognise. But there might be some elder listeners here now who'll be well up to date on it. But Sharjah was actually the one that I give the nod to be honest. I'd go, let's be clear about it, before I found the 50. But I just think that Sharjah's 2 runs over fences have been promising. He's still only 10. We've seen Willie do this before, bring a horse late to chasing and go well with him. In the same colours too, actually. Faheen did it.
Faheen's a lot better than Sharjah, though,
And
isn't
Classical Dream obviously is doing it this year along with Sharjah. And I don't know, I think if you're looking at the bare form of what he's done over fences versus the others, I think there's very little in it at all, and Sharjah has jumped reasonably well too. So that's who I'd side with, to be honest, at the prices too. So, Killian, we'll move on to the Bar 1, Hatton's Grace Hurdle after that. Last year's winner, Chupu, was 11-4. Imperial Pass is top of the market at 6-4 on. Irish Point is 8-1. Ashrow Diamond 11-1. Probably a race lacking in a bit of depth when you see Buddy 1 at 14-1 as well. And only one of those 2 Robcour runners for Gordon Elliott will probably turn up. So, probably between the first 2 in the betting, is it?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think Ashrow Diamond's a very nice horse, though. She was very impressive in Fairyhouse, in the Honeysuckle race. So I think, yeah, 11-1. You can't get 3 places, but I'd say if you were to say who was going to follow the first 2 home, I think it'd be Ashrow Diamond. I'd be a bit disappointed if it wasn't her. Even though I think Buddy 1 will definitely run a big race again. Not too sure about going back in trip, but he's got race fitness on his side, which none of the rest do. Can't see Irish Point running, can't see Zanahiyr running. Beacon Edge is probably, his market suggests you'd be running him in a handicap. Maybe they'll just run him here just to get another run into him. I don't know. But Buddy 1 with race fitness aside might beat Ashrow Diamond, but if you were on her for a mare's hurdle, then you'd be a bit sickened, to be honest. I think it's between the top 2. Pity it's not a bit softer for Chupu. I think at 3 miles he doesn't need it soft, but I think at this trip he probably needed fairly soft, to be honest. If Imperial Pass is to be better than Stateman, don't mind the other lad, he has to win this. And if he doesn't win this, Stateman's your number 1 again, probably. But they'll probably run against each other before Cheltenham, but Stateman will be your number 1, and it's a waste of time staying over hurdles with Imperial Pass.
Yeah, I'd agree with everything that we saw from Imperial Pass last year, and the way he won the Ballymore and that on this ground over this trip. I would expect him to win, to be honest. Chupu again, if the ground was that bit softer. I'd echo your thoughts completely. Over that trip, he could do with it softer. But Imperial Pass will take all the beating, I would suspect. Killian, before we wrap it up, we're going to look for the best bets for the weekend. So if you can give me 2 or 3 there from what you've mentioned already.
Yeah, just before that, I might just tip into the listed handicap at the 310 in Fairyhouse, if that's okay. Flameborough for Tom Gibney is a horse I liked the way he won in Cork the last day. He's been sort of running over the summer there, came from Mark Johnson's 77 on the flat. Has ran decent races and maiden hurdles, being sort of well bet, but then he really upped his form in Listowel when he was fourth in the Lartigue bet 3 lengths. I thought he was sort of coming to win it that day, and he absolutely clattered the second last and knocked everything out of him. But still, to be only beaten 3 lengths was a fairly good performance. Went back on the flat then in a Premier Handicap and just got beat half a length up in Naas off a mark of 79, and then won his maiden hurdle in Cork the last day. I'd say a mark of 123. I'd say he could definitely be better than that. It's a deep race though. There's a lot of good horses in it, and be very competitive like it always is. But I'd say he could run a good race.
Okay, yeah. Okay, very good. And we also have the Porterstown handicap chase too. But again, I'd get my teeth stuck into that once we get declarations. So Killian, do you have 2 horses for me or 3? What are you thinking this week?
Yeah, I go definitely. Let's be clear about it.
Okay, let's be clear about it in the Drinmore
in the
chase
Drinmore
on Sunday.
Him definitely. I'd say Marie's Rock on Friday in Newbury at is it 2:25?
Yeah.
It could be 3:00. Trying to get it up here. 3:00 in Newbury on Friday, 5 to 6. And I'd say Massico on Saturday. He's about 7 to 4 as well over in Newbury in the 105.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take you on with the first one in the Drinmore. I'm going to go with Sharjah. And now actually that's tying in with my Paisley Park too, like in these older horses, and it often it's my Achilles heel, but I'm going to go with Sharjah anyway, because I think that form that he has over fences is as good as any. Following up with that, on Newcastle at Sandown, on Saturday in the Coral Gold Cup, Midnight
Newbury.
River. Newbury. What did I say?
Sandown.
Newbury. The Coral Gold Cup, Midnight River, each way at 10 to 1. And then I go with, if I was to give a third, I'd probably go Redstone in the 125 at Fairyhouse on Saturday.
Yeah.
That form behind beating King of Kingsfield is quite solid based off what he did last time out. So they'd be my three.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and that wraps up this week's preview show. So I hope you enjoy listening to it, and I hope there's a few winners in there for you anyway. By all means, let us know in the comments if you agree with any of our selections or disagree with any of our selections, or if you think you have a nice one of your own. Do let us know so we can have a look at it as well. But for this week, that's all from us. Thanks very much for listening. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe to whatever you're listening on. We'd greatly appreciate that. And we'll be back on Monday morning. Actually, just before you go, Cillian, I just thought about it last week. I was going through my phone. I saw your car outside Fairyhouse Racecourse. It was this day, almost this day last year. We were at Fairyhouse for the Hatton's Grace on the Sunday, and Cillian's car wasn't collected until the Thursday evening. It was sitting there in a field on its own for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, fair enough. Though,
we've got a great photo of it too. We can stick it up here now too. I'm going to send it across to you, and you can put it up.
Yeah, we might put it up. It's a fairly desolate car out in the middle of nowhere, like.
Yeah, but you're going to the Hatton's Grace on Sunday. I'm not there because of a match, but you're going. But just try and bring the car home with you this time.
Yeah, I can't promise anything, but crucially, I am off Monday, so who knows where that car will end up. It could be anywhere. So,
right. Okay. Yeah. That's all for this week, lads. Thanks very much for listening.
Bye.